third reason why I think Kyle and Mauricio are secretly back together and that Morgan Wade's PR contract is up. Again, all of a sudden now, Kyle Richards is admitting her comment about dating women on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was for, quote, shock value, and says she feels, quote, guilty about Morgan Wade's anxiety over the spotlight on their relationship. Again, let's think about that. Let's think about that real quick. And I'll get into the article in Daily Mail that breaks everything down. Let's think about that real quick. Why would Kyle feel guilty and why would Morgan have anxiety over the spotlight on their, quote, relationship? Notice it did not say friendship, right? Because now Kyle is saying, oh, you know, Morgan is just another person in my friend group. You know, she's just a friend. You know, it's the media are making it look like it's something more. Why are they saying relationship and not friendship? When I hear the word relationship, I think sexual. It's a sexual relationship. When I think platonic, I think friendship. So I would say anxiety over the spotlight on their friendship. If you say relationship, it sounds sexual. Here we go. So let's get the receipts. This is according to the Daily Mail. It says, sorry, guys, waiting for it to buffer and load. It says Kyle wants to clear the air on her recent comments about dating women. The actress, who's estranged from her husband Mauricio Umansky, caused the stir when she asked her castmates on Wednesday's Real Housewives of Beverly Hills episode if they would consider being in a relationship with another woman, and then revealed that she herself would be open to it. Two reasons I said that, Kyle explained on the Bravo After Show segment. A, for shock value, and B, because I'm at a place in my life where, I don't know, I have zero judgment. Girl, you better stop. You better stop. Again, playing in our faces. So you know the entire world is speculating on your relationship, not friendship, with Morgan Wade, whether it's sexual or not. Are you cheating on your husband or not? Are you and your husband actually separated? And so it's not, I guess, technically cheating, you know, or not. The whole world is speculating this. And then you go on the episode and you ask everybody, are you open to having a relationship with a woman? Because I am, all of a sudden. And now you want to go back and, you know, backpedal and be like, oh, it was for shock value. It wasn't for shock value. Call a thing a thing. It was for storyline, Kyle. It was for storyline. You wanted to keep the narrative. You wanted to keep us guessing. You wanted to keep it up, the whole storyline of are they, aren't they, between you and Morgan. That's not shock value. That's storyline, you know? So now all of a sudden you're trying to backtrack because, again, like I said, I think Kyle and Mauricio have they either are secretly back together or they are reconciling and it's on the way. Because like I said, I always thought that they were going to get back together within 3 to 6 months. And now all of a sudden, Morgan is deleting her photos with Kyle on Instagram. Kyle is saying it's the media's fault. Everybody thinks that they're together. Kyle is saying that she only said she would be with a woman and asked the question for shock value. So, I mean, to me, it sounds like trying to backtrack. The question had indeed shocked fans as Kyle has repeatedly denied having an affair with country music star Morgan Wade. The gal pals have been inseparable since Kyle split from Mauricio last year after 27 years of marriage. And the spotlight on Morgan is something Kyle deeply regrets. Deeply regrets the spotlight on Morgan. Morgan just wants to make music, and all of a sudden she was thrust into this like world of gossip and tabloids and traveling and having paparazzi take pictures of her. Kyle explains on Tuesday's Amazon live session. She just doesn't like any of that, Kyle continued. She just wants to make music, and all of a sudden I had a lot of guilt, you know, like I put her in this situation. Again, why would Kyle feel guilty unless it was a PR relationship contract? And to me, it sounds like the contract is up. And now they are creating this narrative as to why we are no longer going to start seeing Kyle and Morgan together. Because remember, because it is a PR relationship, they don't want to damage the reputation of either person. So it's not going to be some blow up fight. It's not going to be some fallout. It's going to be around Morgan just wants to focus on her music. Kyle and Morgan are still dear friends, but but Morgan's just really, really focused on her work. Please respect her privacy. She's really focused on, her mental health and anxiety. And again, when I say mental health and anxiety, I'm not being disrespectful. You guys know I am a huge advocate for self-care, self-love, and mental health. I'm just saying how I think they're going to spin it so that no person's, quote, reputation or public persona is tarnished, to explain why I think in the upcoming weeks and months, the whole Kyle and Morgan Wade is going to fade out. And this right now is gearing up for that. She doesn't like any of that. She doesn't want to be in the gossip tabloid. She has all this anxiety. I feel so guilty. She just wants to focus on her music. Well, what has changed between now and 2 years ago? For the last year and a half, 2 years, it's been them together at the hip. I thought Kyle was doing an entire documentary on Morgan. They've been seen together, in Aspen and Beverly Hills and all the places. Kyle's been at every single, tour date, concert, or whatever the case is, right? So if it wasn't overwhelming for the last year and a half to 2 years, why is it now all of a sudden so overwhelming for her? Or is the contract up? And this is their narrative to explain away why they won't be seen together that much anymore. Okay, I'm just going to check and make sure I'm still here. Okay. All right. So let's get back into it. Because sorry, you guys, I was having internet issues today. So if it's slow, if it's choppy, I really, really apologize. I will be calling the internet people once I finish this live, but I want to get through this for you guys. So please give me grace, and I'm sorry if there's any choppiness. All right, here we go. All right. Okay. So of course I feel bad. It gave her anxiety, seeing these headlines. And like I said, just thrust into the spotlight brought her anxiety. She concluded, like myself, she suffers from anxiety. So I felt terrible to have put her in that position. And again, why does Kyle say, I felt terrible to have put her in that position? Does that sound like normal friends? Or does it sound like I put her in this position because I picked her to be the poster person for my midlife crisis, and so I feel bad that her being in this contract brought her anxiety. It doesn't make even how she's talking doesn't sound normal, because like Kyle said, oh, Morgan's just another person in my friend group. Well, if she's just another person in your friend group, then why couldn't she just fall by the wayside? You see what I'm saying? So again, Kyle, doesn't make any sense. Those dating rumors hit an all-time high back in August after Kyle joined Morgan in her music video for her single Fall in Love with Me that month, which featured the two women pining over each other and climaxed with a passionate kiss between the two. Again, if Morgan had all this anxiety, if Kyle had all this anxiety, then why would you feed the beast and do that music video of the two of them being in a sexual relationship? Again, doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. And Kyle herself said that they did the music video because let's give them something to talk about. Since there's all this fodder around our relationship anyway, let's just do the music video, blah, blah, to feed into it, blah, blah, blah. That's what Kyle said herself. So which is it? Are you in such a good place that you can do a tongue-in-cheek sexual music video because everybody in the world is talking about your relationship? Or do you and Morgan have so much anxiety and guilt over the spotlight of your relationship? It's so crippling that, she's just going to fall back a little bit. It doesn't cut both ways. What makes the most sense is that, and I've said this since day one, I think Kyle genuinely was going through something. I do think she was really depressed and grieving the loss of her friend Lorene, who unfortunately passed away. I do think she felt abandoned in her marriage. I do think she was having some sort of identity crisis. I do. I think she did hear Morgan's music on the radio, got all in her feelings, reached out to her on DM. And I think Morgan's camp was like, whoa, this is an opportunity for a huge come up. You tie yourself to Kyle Richards, you're going to be in the tabloids. You're going to have a social media boost. Maybe we can get you on the show. You're going to sell out your merch. Let's get her in a music video. You're going to sell out your concerts. You're going to start getting, all these big pushes. Now Morgan's doing I think something with like Alanis Morissette or something like that. Mainstream people now know who Morgan Wade is. Prior to this, I had no idea who she was. Now everybody knows who she is. So I think that is what happened. And I think Kyle, like Kyle does, loves having minions, love having mouthpieces, love having someone who can do her dirty work and create narratives and storylines for her, whether it's Dorit, whether it's Teddy, whether it's Anna Marie, whether it's Erica Jane, whether it's Morgan Wade. Kyle likes to have someone there who is either her mouthpiece or is a pawn that she can use to create narratives and storylines that fit her agenda. And so that is what I think has happened. And I've said that from day one. I never thought this was a sexual relationship. To me, they don't have any sexual chemistry at all. Morgan, every time she's around Kyle, looks very uncomfortable. She looks very like she wants to cringe. Even in this photo, her hands are clasped behind her back. Anytime you actually see Morgan and Kyle together, it does, in my opinion, I never got sexual energy. Ever. Morgan always seemed quite frankly, a little bit creeped out. That's why on the show, she said out of her mouth, Kyle stalked me. Who says that unless they really felt stalked? So I've said from day one, this was always a PR relationship. Morgan and her team wanted the fame. They wanted the notoriety. They wanted to cross over to mainstream and to get the money. Kyle wanted to make Mauricio jealous. She wanted storyline and she wanted relevancy. But now the contract is up. And now now this is the reason why they're going to say that we're going to start to see less and less and less of Kyle and Morgan together. I think it's going to fade out. But I want to know what you guys think. Put it down below. Do you think that Morgan and Kyle ever really were in a sexual relationship? Do you think it was just a PR relationship for money, for clicks, for views, for storyline? Let me know what you guys think. Put it down below. And before you do that, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. So with that, let's move on to number 2. So this is my number